Kirk, I have I've kind of chipped around this little mountain all episode long, and I'm really anxious to hear you, kind of put on your professor hat, sick 'em bears, and talk about if you were going to do this tomorrow, what would you do specifically? And, give us a couple of little foundational steps that, people that are, like we said earlier, trying to get over the wall or thinking about, scaling the wall. What are two or three things that you just got to do that are foundational that you would start tomorrow, that you would kind of lay that foundation of that runway of exit?
Mm-hmm. Right. I really think it's much more introspective than it is looking outward. The mistake that I see people make is they say, I've got to do more research. I've got to look for the right thing. And they're looking out here and they're not saying what works for me. How am I wired? What does my spouse think? What stage of life are my kids in? And it's, I would say if I was, somebody said, hey, I'm thinking about buying a business. Do you want to hear about the business I'm thinking about buying? And I get this all the time. People like, hey, can I grab you for coffee sometime? I hear a lot of small business people complain about that, the pick your brain phone call. I love the pick your brain phone call. I've made very good friends in the pick your brain phone call. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I've done, this isn't really what you asked me, but one of the ways I use my law degree to communicate in the startup community in my town is it's very well known that if you're a small business person and you're in our community, I will help fix your speeding tickets for free. It makes people give me that awkward phone call. Hey, Kirk, remember that time you said you'd fix my speeding ticket for free? So I was going to Walmart the other night and I, rolled through a stop sign and blah, 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 and that kind of intimacy helps me get to know people better. I call them back, it's a good thing. All that to say that if you had coffee with me and said, hey, I'm thinking about buying a business where I clean swimming pools and treat swimming pools. Let me tell you about their ROI. Let me tell you about their history, blah, blah, blah. I would say, stop right there. Are you married or are you single? How many kids do you have? What are their ages? Where have you been? I would dig deeper into what is it that you like about your 20-year job that you've had at KPMG? What is it that you don't like about your 20-year job? I would turn the camera around and say, and I do that all the time. Let's talk about you. Then the questions that we would need to ask about the pool business will be answered before we get to the pool business. So my number one piece of advice to people is they're pointing the camera at the business and they need to turn the camera around and really do a lot of self-searching and life situational searching. Like what if you need to move? What if this takes off and you need to move? They'd be like, oh, well, I can't really, my dad has Parkinson's. Like, okay, let's, that's an answer to a question. Let's start talking about your personal situation. And then you get a lot more focus when it comes to evaluating the business opportunity or the transition from where you are to where you're going. It's much more about you than it is about the opportunity.